Good morning and welcome to the debut video for this channel. I'm Chris. I've been trying to figure out how to intro this channel and what I should say, and I just not really coming up with a whole lot. So this is what we got. I don't have an intentional purpose for this channel other than basic photography, but it will kind of be budget oriented simply because you will not see me with a $3,000 camera body or a $6,000 lens or anything like that. This morning we are going to take that kind of to the extreme. Today we are working with a Canon 6D with a 28 to 135 Canon EF lens. That lens debuted in 1998, so it is considerably older than the camera it's on. I also have a Canon 5D Mark II with me. That camera is wearing a 28 to 80 millimeter USM lens. That one came out in 1991. There's been about 5 versions of that lens because you had the USM version, and I think there were 2 versions of a 28 to 80 that were non-USM. So there's like 7 of the 28 to 80 millimeter lenses that Canon made. The 28 to 135 I have, they did not ever do an update on. At some point they went to the 28 to 105, and then obviously some of the classic ones more recently, semi-recently, 24 to 105. So the purpose of these 2 cameras is, one, they're considered classics, so I'm very interested in seeing how they render images, and 2, they're budget. This morning's subject is a bridge. It's for a train, so it's a railroad track on the bridge. And as we got the sun coming up over here, hopefully we can get some nice sunlight. But looks like the sun is going to be not as angled as I thought it might be this morning, based on where that brightness is coming up. So we'll see what we can come up with. Now, I've made some videos with these cameras before, and if YouTube will let me, I will repost them. But I have them on my other channel. They didn't do so good, but it's also not the other channel's kind of purpose or subject matter. But anywho, we are here. Got a lot of construction signs or something going on here. So hopefully, that sun is, the angle is bad. That is not what I was hoping for. So we're gonna see what we come up with. That is not the angle. I thought it's gonna come up more from over there, but I'm a little bit off. I thought from over there I'd get a little bit of obliqueness on the bridge once it got up high. But man, it's really more in line. So we'll see what we come up with. Here's a shot of the bridge we're talking about. We're gonna start off with the Canon 6D. And just as I suspected, that sun is in a tough spot for me here. I'm not sure what I would have to do to get a decent photo. So this one's pretty heavily processed, and this one's really heavily processed. Just trying to make a little bit of lemonade out of lemons here. So now we're going to switch over to the 5D Mark II. And I got the same thing going on, except I got some flares. The flares could be from a UV filter I forgot I had on there. I thought I didn't have any filters on, but clearly I did. Not quite getting what I thought I was going to get with the sunrise. We're going to take a couple pictures of this sign just to look at what the cameras can do with this kind of nice morning light. Colorful sign, a little bit of a trail going back, sun in the trees. So let's see what the 5D and the 5D Mark II and the 6D can do. 5D Mark II and the 6D can do. So shot with the 5D Mark II, very little processing. We're gonna have a similar composition on these 2 cameras. These aren't great award-winning shots, just a little something to show what these older full-frame cameras can do. Very similar shot with the 6D, and now a landscape shot. These cameras used to be something somebody might use. Somebody probably still uses it to make a living as a photographer. So There's nothing wrong with these older cameras today. You don't need to spend $5,000 on a full frame camera body, especially if you're getting into it and or not making money from photography. Unless you just got it balling like that, you can get by with some pretty cheap stuff. And you know, you can go with the Nikon equivalents of this. I don't know anything about Sony's at all, but like a Nikon D600, D750, D800 with equivalent lenses, you can probably get, or you will get, just as good of results. People use those to make a living 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and they'll still make great pictures today. So we're gonna go back up on the railroad tracks and see if I can get something going down the tracks now that the sun's up, and maybe we'll get a little something going on over here. I was wanting to face the other direction, but the sun was not hitting the track. So we're trying the same direction. The sun is just off to the right of the screen here. So we'll do a little landscape here, then a portrait. Then we're going to heavily process this to try to salvage something here. I'm not crazy about the heavily processed look. One thing I have a tough time switching between these two cameras is I've got the aperture set on the 6D, and I like the aperture up here on the front dial and the shutter on the back dial. Well, the 5D Mark II, it's the opposite, and you can't program it any different way. So every time I try to adjust the shutter on this, I'm actually adjusting the aperture. So I just prefer the aperture up front and the shutter in the back. So this is the only camera I got that is set up that way that I can't change. So we're going to try to, again, make some lemonade out of lemons here. Here's our kind of original shot, and I really like it here in this black and white. I think the black and white kind of saves the day here. Do a little 1x1, and then 1x1, black and white with a different crop. I think that, I really like that one. Those are going to be tough into the sun there. So now we're under the bridge with the 5D Mark II. Nothing fancy here. I'm focused in the background there, but I think the black and white gives it a much more dramatic look. Now we're on the 6D. A little bit different composition. Same concept. I like that dramatic black and white. It looks a lot better. Again, 6D. Kind of a blah photo. Gives it a little something in black and white there. So the sun didn't really cooperate with us there. I think maybe in the winter time, when the sun is a little more southeast, it'll get a little bit different angle on that bridge, and maybe we could do something better there. But can't use the other side of the bridge. It's private land on that side, so kind of maybe it's just not a good morning spot. These images aren't the greatest in the world, but it's what we had to work with that morning. So we were trying to work with something. So I was trying to kind of show options here. We got a photo that's kind of blah. Maybe crop it a little different, maybe over process it. What I call over processing it. Some people would like kind of that look, but that oversaturated look. It's not really my thing, but it's an option to try to save a photo. And then black and white, that's kind of my go-to. If you got something that's not quite right, take a look at it in black and white, and then the different levels of black and white, the different grain you can put into black and white. I think that really helps a lot. I know this video wasn't the greatest in the world, but if I waited to do a perfect video for the intro of this channel, we'd never intro this channel. So hope you liked this video. If you did, give us that thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down there, and I hope you tune in for the next one where we continue that morning down at Aceto Rapids. Thanks for watching.